Okay, so we are doing completing the square in today's notes. This is a little bit more difficult concept, but you can see I have the steps and we're going to do a number that we can try. So we always want to be in standard form, so ax squared plus bx plus c. We move the c value in the quadratic equation to the right side of the equal sign. So then step 2, we divide the a value and factor out for the coefficients on the left side of the equation. Basically, we're trying to get the x squared to have a coefficient of 1. Then we divide our second term, the b term, in half, and we square it, and we add it to the end of the left side for a new c value. But we don't remove the b value. We maintain balance, step 4. Whatever we added to the left side, we need to add to the right side. And we're going to see a couple different situations here. And then step 5, factor the new trinomial on the left. We need to write it correctly and put the GCF back in front. And then step 6, we want to move the constant from the right side back over to the left side so that we are now back in vertex form and we can identify the vertex. So let's look at these examples. So the first example, it just asks us to complete the square. So we have x squared plus 6x. So we want to complete the square. That means we need to take the b term, 6, divide it in 2. That gives us 3. And then we square the 3. So that gives us 9. So when we complete the square, we would add in 9. And the reason we do this completing the square is because now this 3 becomes the factors. X plus 3 times x plus 3, which is just x plus 3 squared. So you can kind of already see that's in vertex form right there. So example 2 asks us to put it in vertex form. So the first thing we want to do is take the 19 to the right hand side. So we have x squared minus 8x, and then we have to subtract 19. Now, we don't have an a value that we need to divide out because it's already x squared, so we're fine there. We take our b value, negative 8, and cut it in half. That gives us negative 4. And then we need to square the negative 4. So negative 4 squared would give us 16. So now we have to add 16 to the end of the trinomial. X squared minus 8x plus 16 equals negative 19 plus 16. We have to add 16 to both sides. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. And so then, if you look, this negative 4, the half of the b value, will now be our factor. It just becomes x minus 4 squared. It's because it's x minus 4 times x minus 4. That's the shortcut. This b over 2 is our new factor. And then it's equal to negative 3. And so then our last step is we bring everything over. X minus 4 squared plus 3 equals 0. And so we would say our vertex is at 4, 3. 4 to the right and 3 up. Let's look at number 3. We're going to do the same thing. We want to put it into vertex form. So we're going to have to complete the square. So first thing we do, 5x squared plus 10x equals negative 7. Now, we haven't done this yet, but we need to divide the a value out. The a value in this case is 5. So we take 5 out front, and so then we have x squared plus 2x. So we just factored out the a value. And now we have 2x is our b value. We're going to take the b value and cut it in half, which gives us 2 over 2, or 1. 1 squared is equal to 1. So now, when we rewrite this is 5 times, we add the 1 to the end of the trinomial. Now we have to decide how much are we actually adding. We added 1 on the inside, but we're actually adding 5 because you have to multiply it by 5. So we have to add 5 to the right-hand side too to even it out. And now our factors, so we still have 5 times, but now our factor is this 1, x plus 1 squared. So the nice thing when we complete the square, we just have whatever it is squared equals -2. We're going to bring everything over, so 5 times x plus 1 squared plus 2 equals 0. And so then you can see we're in vertex form here. It's stretched by 5, moves left 1 and up 2. Our vertex is -1, 2. So that makes it nice and easy. So on the U-try, we'll go through these too. Completing the square. So we have -3. We cut it in half, and then we have to square it. -3/2 squared is equal to 9/4. It's equal to 9/4. If we were going to write it, we would have x minus 3/2, but we never want to put that in like that. So we would say this is actually 2x minus 3 squared. All right, number 2, put it in vertex form. If we look, we can see the 66 is already moved over. So we don't have to do the very first step. Next, we need to factor out the a value. So this becomes 3 times x squared plus 6x. Still equals 66. We don't have to factor it out of the right-hand side. And then we take the 6 and cut it in 2, which is 3. 3 squared equals 9. So when we're doing this, we have 3 times x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 66. And then we're adding 27 because it's 3 times the 9. So we have to add 27 to both sides. So when we do the factors, this is 3 times x plus 3 squared. We get that from here. Goes right in there. That's our factor. That's the shortcut. Equals 93. And then I'm just going to bring it over. 3 times x plus 3 squared minus 93 equals 0. So my vertex is at -3, -93. Let's see if I have enough space for the last one. So we want to move, first thing we do, we move the -33 over. So that means it equals +33. The a value is 1, so we don't have to do that step, so we can go straight to taking the b value, 2, and cut it in half. 2/2 is 1. 1 squared is also 1. So this becomes x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 33. And we're only adding 1 because the a value is 1. And so then, using this as our factor, it's x, that's our perfect square factor, x plus 1 squared equals 34. I'm going to bring the 34 back over. So we have x plus 1 squared minus 34 equals 0. So my vertex is -1, -34. And that's completing the square. So it seems like it's difficult at the beginning. It's not as hard as you think. You just need to make sure you balance both sides. Take the half of b, and then we square it.